Hi, Mariana. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for the invite.
Let's start with your background. How did you get into crypto?
So, I'm a lawyer by training, and I did postdegree studies in human rights and international law, and I was working for the development sector with like the government in Colombia at that time, the UN, and I got extremely frustrated because I wanted to create impact, but the impact takes really long time to be created, and change takes a lot of time. So I started to look into how technology could help us to accelerate that change, right? And that's how I ended looking into blockchain particularly. That was back in 2017. And then back in 2018, I started to work with a layer one. And I was mostly focusing on the real world applications of blockchain. So I actually came from a different approach to many of the people. I started with blockchain in the infrastructure, and then I became more and more interested on crypto.
Mm-hmm. Then let's dive deeper into real world applications of blockchain. Yeah.
So, where to start? There's a lot of going on. I managed back in the day, I was the lead project manager for different Horizon projects. So we look into mobility, we look into smart cities, energy transition, carbon credits. So it was mostly looking at real world applications, but for sustainable development goals as well. And here is really interesting because it's the same kind of characteristics of the blockchain that make it such an interesting technology to apply in this project. So all the data traceability, I think, is really important, especially when you have sustainability claims. For example, in the case of carbon credits, you generate credits based on an information that's supposed to be tied to some actions that you're generated, right? But we have a lot of issues right now with the quality of the information. So if you have blockchain integrations and you have the traceability of how this data was collected, how it was treated, who is producing it, all the supply chain of the data, well, at the end you can generate credits that facilitate or prevent you for having greenwashing, right? Mm-hmm. And the other part that it comes that is really interesting is the tokenization. For example, here on carbon credits as well, to stay in the example, if you tokenize carbon credits, then you can avoid double expending, which is another big issue that we have in the carbon market. So blockchain has the potential to not only make more transparent and efficient the carbon credits, but also it can improve the value of the carbon credit, because if you have quality data, then the credit can be more expensive. Therefore, there's more money flowing back to the projects that are doing forest preservation, for example. And this, there is many different examples. One of my favorite projects is Ethics Hub. I don't know if you know them, but basically what they're doing is using DeFi and also they own coin as a collateral for doing loans to farmers that have been historically discriminated from the traditional financial system. So looking at how to bring investors to farmers that are onboarding, so they can access the resources that they need to keep producing the land and become sustainable, right? So there are really beautiful projects out there that shows how the blockchain goes beyond crypto. And I think that this is really, really good. The focus of regulation has always been in the financial part. And I think that is good to show them that the technology goes beyond those applications and that crypto and financial side is just one part.
Exactly. And since we have touched upon the ground of blockchain for good, right, and the blockchain for impact, maybe there is something else, something really, really interesting that you could share with us.
There's a lot of things. One of the things that excites me the most is that blockchain and crypto are a bubble, mm-hmm. and you can expand and grow only as big as your bubble. And I think that there has been really difficult in onboarding new markets and new users. But I think that with blockchain for good and this type of applications, we have an exponential power to onboard more people. And proof of that is that the United Nations is already starting to, it has been experimented for quite a long time already with blockchain, and they're deploying more and more projects. So you have associations like Blockchain for Good Alliance that are coming super strong to empower projects that are looking at blockchain and integrate sometimes tokenization of crypto, but they're looking into actual blockchain and how to use blockchain technologies to achieve certain changes in society. And I think that that's really powerful because at the end, technology needs to have a purpose. We need to be building things to solve issues, not to create more issues. And I think that this is the part of the technology, and more than any other technology, has the potential to do so. Because one of the main issues that I have right now is that you have blockchain, crypto here, and then you have AI, then you have like cyber, post-quantum, all of these things, and we are like looking at them in silos. But I think that the way that we should be looking at it is in a more integrated and holistic way, in which blockchain is the underlayer level technology, the underlayer layer technology, in which all of these different technologies are going to build upon. And this is the trust layer, right? And this is something that comes directly with the characteristics of the technology itself.
Interesting. Now that we touched also upon the future, right? When it comes to the future, you mentioned AI, blockchain, quantum. What is the most exciting and interesting development that you are well aware of? Where the combination works. Yeah.
I think that like if you want to see the whole combination of technologies, you could look at the Cityverse. I'm working on a really interesting project with the European Commission, the city of Malaga, and the city of Dubai, in which we are like looking to this, how all of these technologies get together to actually build the Cityverse and to just like bring the Cityverse to life. So that's a really interesting integration, because AI will like help you to analyze data faster and also create like more individual experience. And at the same time, you have like digital twins and virtual reality, actually like giving the whole experience of the metaverse. And then you have like blockchain, not only for the traceability of data, but you also have like the digital ID credentials there, where you can actually like interact, like having your tokenized ID, like that is another completely different conversation that is really complex when it comes to identities. But long story short, you can have it integrated there, and you have like all the token economy that is what is going to fit the smart cities. I came across an interesting company called BTQ as well, which is like doing a really intersection of different technologies. They're looking at post-quantum in stable coins. And I think that this is really interesting, because quantum is a threat that we have right now, and I don't think that is like properly addressed because it's really complicated. But it's really interesting to see that there are companies that are starting to come up and they're like coming to life, that are like looking already on how to protect digital assets from a quantum attack. So there's exciting things like everywhere. We will need like a whole hour here just to cover the surface. But I think that like for those that are interesting, like there's so much right now also in the internet right now with information that you can use to learn about the use cases, sandboxes that are deploying this in a kind of like protected environment where we can test the solutions. So there's so much out there that I think it's really hard to stay up to date on what is going on. But like if you are curious, you just go find information, learn a little bit more. One thing that like I must say is that the crypto industry is really open, and the blockchain industry in general. So if you have questions, you can always approach people, and then there is always like really happy to just provide more information or talk to you about it.
And curiosity is always encouraged.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much for your time. It was very insightful.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.